Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today I wanted to talk about some of the benefits of resistance training. Just a couple of them, really probably just focus on one, but know there is a multitude, a vast array of benefits of strength training. Okay, so um, strength training, the main adaptation, the most important response of the human body is to build muscle mass and strength, to strengthen the whole body, really. And muscle mass is the key. Muscle is what moves our bodies. Muscle, skeletal muscle pulls on bone, and that causes contraction, causes my elbows to flex or lift things over my head, or even lift and squat and lift my whole body up from a chair or walk. So without at least a baseline level of strength and muscle and strength, um, I lose my independence. I lose my ability to move my body. Okay, an extreme example of that is, sometimes we go to a nursing home and we see the evidence of a loss of muscle and loss of strength. So strength training places tension on muscles, skeletal muscles, places tension. And the thought is that we have, we stress the muscle and we develop little bitty micro traumas or some sort of trauma to the muscle, and then it can adapt or change to that stress and in very short order become stronger and increase in muscle size. Now, the opposite of that occurs if you don't strength train. Okay, it's just that simple. If you're not strength training, okay, and you're 60 years old, you don't have the skeletal muscle that you had at 20 years old. Okay, some sources, various number of sources, it's very hard to come up with hard numbers as to this, but some are thinking that we lose about 5 pounds a decade in early adulthood on. Okay, so if an individual loses, 30 or 40 pounds of muscle over 3 or 4, decades, I guess over 4 decades, they lose 20 pounds of muscle at that data point, or at 5 pounds a decade. That's a significant amount of muscle mass to lose. Okay, so strength training is all about muscle. Without muscle, you just simply are not going to move as efficiently. Muscle mass is the engine that helps you utilize glucose for energy. I know with type 2 diabetes, we have the loss of the ability to utilize glucose efficiently. The muscles have a storage in them of glucose in the form, we call that glycogen. So that is just simply the sugar that you've consumed. The foods that you consumed are broken down and in a lot of ways are stored in glycogen. So I'm not going to give you a whole physiologic explanation of this, but muscles store glucose, and the more muscle that you have, it would make sense that the more places you have to store glucose, which means, again, we increase our metabolism. We increase our ability to uptake and utilize glucose. So we consume 100 grams of glucose. If we have depleted our glycogen stores with exercise, the sugar that we've consumed can be shuttled back into those muscle cells and replenished. Okay, if we don't have much muscle mass, we're not exercising, we're not causing our muscles to contract and be under stress, then we don't utilize glucose as well. That's a big deal. A lot of individuals have type 2 diabetes or pre-diabetic. Okay, so strength training is the only form of exercise that's specifically designed to build back muscle mass that you've lost. Okay, if you're a runner and that's all you do is run, that's great, that's wonderful, that's great on your cardiovascular system, but you need to be doing, I think 2 days a week is optimal for strength training. 2 days a week is optimal. But you need to be getting in at least some form on some day of the week, some strength training, okay, to increase your skeletal muscle throughout all your body systems. Okay, running's great for your cardiovascular system, but you need to be strength training your major muscle groups. Okay, so strength training is all about muscle. Okay, so I have a lot of ladies. Well, I don't want to. I don't want to build a lot of muscle. I don't want, and they're 50 years old and they've never strength trained. I'm like, you've lost a lot of muscle mass that we've just got to get you back to baseline to where you were, in your 20s. Okay, so and strength training, you can do it you can build back muscle in very short order. Okay, you can lay down new muscle mass very quickly. That's the beauty of strength training is, we have clients here, and I've mentioned it many times, that strength train 2 days a week, less than about 30 minutes of session, less than 30 minutes, and they've doubled their strength, in 12 weeks. So, if they exercise an hour a week, that's 12 hours of exercise. And it just happens. If you don't believe me, come in, talk to me, get online, we'll chat about it. And if you've not been strength training, I can promise you we can build strength and muscle very quickly. It's those that are much more advanced, it becomes much more difficult. I mean, I can't think of any form of anything you do in life that you could do for an hour a week and produce such vast benefits. Okay, so get in your weekly strength training. I have a rule: I don't miss strength training unless I'm sick, I'm out of town, and even if I'm out of town, I try to move things around to get my weekly strength training in. So sick, out of town, or some sort of family emergency. Okay, strength training is vital. Okay, so get involved with some strength training. Listen to some of my videos. Those aren't the only ways to strength train, but I do think they're highly effective. We can change things as we go, and we should. But listen to some of my videos. I've got some of those earlier videos that talk about strength training programming. But without strength training, over time you're going to lose muscle mass. It's that simple. And I hope you're active outside of that. But you need to be strength training to preserve and even perhaps build back some skeletal muscle mass, or build an additional amount of skeletal muscle. And muscle is to me, it's a treasure, and it's something we need to maintain throughout our life. And so we maintain independence and strength and all of those things. That's it for today. Talk to you soon.